So we were talking a bit about the kind of tunes, the kind of playing. So can you show us a little bit about your rhythm style and kind of tell us where it came from?
The music that the fiddle music I first loved. Had a backup was like this with bass runs. And so I like still to play that boom chuck. And I think it's important to have both. The boom, like if you don't have a bass player, you got to have that. And the strummy thing, I feel less of a beat as a musician, as a dancer. So I want to hear both sounds, the bass and the strum. Now, if you're playing at a dance, you might do something to indicate the next phrase is starting, which I just did. I do that all the time subconsciously.
Before the phrase.
Exactly. That's like when the caller is about to call something, or if they have stopped calling, I still kind of give that clue. Or maybe I'm giving the clue to my bandmates. The next part is starting again, or halfway through, whatever. So that's how my love of old time. I play a lot of tunes like this. Now, when you're playing Irish music, you know, people are more strummy. But I still like that. That's not really Irish sounding when I do it. But I know left-hand chords that kind of imitate the dadgad, the alternate tuning style. So someone said that I have the left hand of a Celtic player and the right hand of an old-time player. Someone put that in a dance flyer 30 years ago, and they're probably right. So I know I know 1,000 ways to play a G chord, and whatever, especially an A chord. But I like to keep the beat. Of course, jigs has a different rhythm. Along the way, I met this guy Ted Bogan, who was a blues guy from the 20s, and I hung out with him a little bit, and I learned swing chords from Ted. And so I like to put those in certain types of tunes. Cape Breton tunes, Shetland tunes, rags, not old time, not Irish especially. Traditional New England often works. So I have that style too. But you might have noticed that I still have a bass and a chord. And here's a little bit less bass, but still has that idea. Okay, and then like I alluded to earlier, I do the droney style, and maybe for a jig it's more smooth. So now there's no bass tone, but I might even. You might be able to hear what it is, or at least you can hear what the phrasing is. Something like that. So I kind of let people know where the phrase starts, or just beforehand.
Leading up to the beginning of the phrase. Yeah. How did your playing change once you started playing for contra dances?
Well, I became a little bit more experimental with my left hand. And like I said, I know lots of ways to play an A chord. When I was just playing for old time sessions, I would just stay down here. The only difference is I might use one finger or three fingers. But when you're playing for a long time at a dance, maybe your hand gets tired, or you get tired of that same shape, and so you start finding different A chords. And then I started, when you do scales, I started putting chords with each of those bass notes. So I learned for instance, in the key of A, you have open strings, and then you just have three strings you need to take care of. And so I learned A, D, and E, 1, 4, and 5, all up and down the neck. Just on those three strings. So playing for a dance, you play for a long time, and you have time to play different A chord. And then at a dance, we're always a little bit drama kings and queens, and we like to bring it down and then bring it up. And then maybe people get excited and yell. So you do things to make that happen. So those are the things that I hear people do things, maybe piano players, and then I would work them up on the guitar. I usually don't work them up. I usually just think of them on the spot.
What kinds of things? Like chord subs or textures or riffs or what?
Yes. Okay, so the first thing was if you're in A, and the you can just throughout the piece you can just play an A chord, even though you're supposed to be changing. Or you can play the 5 chord, the E chord. For too long, people are like, there's all this tension builds up, and then when the tune starts over again, everyone's happy. So I would never do that at a old time jam. But
I'm just laughing at their reaction. It would be.
No, it would be.
It would not be well received.
It would ruin the session. So, you always have to, as a backup player, you always have to do what seems to be appropriate for the time, and the genre you're playing, and the gig you're at. So, how did Contra dancing change my backup? It's just I found other ways to play that was expressive, that were expressive, and dynamic changes. Riffs, well, I can do riffs. I usually make them up.
You have a drone outside, the car alarm.
Yeah, I know. I'm really good at making up riffs, I have to say. And I do it all the time during the walkthrough. All the time. I have 1,000 riffs, but then I don't like to play them during the dance. Go figure.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, you can back up a lot of tunes in G like this. Anything, pretty much. But you know what? By the third time through, I would be sick of myself. And everyone would be people would love it. But I don't love playing it. Okay? It's just, I sort of make fun of it during the walkthroughs, but then I don't want to do it.
That's great.
Once, just once I'm going to do that seriously at a dance. Just do all these things that I'm sort of good at that I don't dare do.
Some kind of groove or something a little bit more poppy sounding.
And some of the fiddlers I work with would be very happy if I started to do that.
Yeah.
I know they would. But I don't know. It goes back to what drew me in the beginning.
Right.
A certain sound, and I just like that.
Yeah, it's not your aesthetic, right? It's not what drew you to the music.
when I first started playing music, where did I learn? Beatles songs and Bob Dylan songs. It was 1970. But am I gonna put that riff in between behind fiddle tunes? No.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song, but I don't want to play it at a contra dance. I don't know. Just some people don't mix their genres in medleys, old time and French Canadian, and some people don't want to like mix their genres in the backup.
Mm-hmm.